Hey, welcome back, y'all. I'm back like I never left, giving y'all these episodes every day. I appreciate you tuning in. First thing I need you to do, thing I tell you to do every time, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. When you click the bell, go up, hit all. It'll help you get my videos. We've added a few subscribers over the last few days. I appreciate all y'all for doing that. I appreciate the comments, even the one who told me I sound like Sling Blade, old car off Sling Blade. I mean, I guess it's kind of true. I do have a thick southern accent. Can't help it. I'm bringing y'all all the Tennessee news you need, y'all. It's going to be bringing you all the college football news you need. From week 0 on, it's going to turn into a straight up college football show. I will still cover Tennessee news, but I'll be covering it all come then. We got some notes from the scrimmage, and we got everything Josh Heupel said about it. If you know, you know. Heupel scrimmages are closed, so the media just gets a little bit of news about them. So we'll go over what I found about the scrimmage, and then we'll go over what Heupel said about it. So first things first, we'll go over the notes from scrimmage that I've got, and then we'll go over what Heupel said. The goal is to get to 100 subscribers by week 1, y'all. We got 21 days. I think we can do it. If you're subscribed and you're enjoying the content, share with all your buddies. Get them to subscribe, watch the videos. Help me build the channel up a little bit. Like I said, I post daily. So you know you're always going to get a video from me. I missed like 2 or 3 days when I first started, but I find a way to get y'all a video every day. I appreciate y'all watching them. So first up, the scrimmage note says, sounds like offensively they ran it pretty well at times. The passing game was certainly inconsistent. Sam Pendleton scrimmage, but limited as he has been banged up. Overall, the offensive line was pretty solid. Caleb Herring made some plays off the edge. As Josh Heupel said post-scrimmage, Edwin Spillman made some plays. At running back, Star Thomas took advantage of his opportunities and had a nice day. Hassan Brahim is going to be a good player. Those young tight ends are going to be good players for sure. Boo Carter fielded punts but didn't do team defense. So Boo Carter's still kind of getting his old punishment stage, I guess. They let him field punts, but he didn't play no defense. Like I said, I think Heupel's letting him see how it feels to not be out there with your boys. That way he don't ever try no crap like that again. It's part of his punishment. First few days, he just worked out to the side. A fall camp, he worked to the side, and then he's having to visit Children's Hospital. Like I said, nothing will humble you more than going to a Children's Hospital and seeing what those kids are dealing with when you're making freaking thousands and thousands of dollars to play a game, and God blessed you with all kinds of talent. So, passing game inconsistent. Pendleton provided scrimmage, but he is limited, so don't know how that works when you're the center or right guard, how you use scrimmage or are limited at the same time. Star Thomas, they said Star Thomas had a hell of a day, y'all. He's running back 3 so far. I mean, I think he's going to be your third down back this year because he's a really good pass catcher, really good pass blocker. So I think he'll get a lot of snaps on third down this year. Hassan Brahim, they spelled his name wrong there, but Hassan Brahim, I've talked about him. He's the most athletic tight end we've had under Heupel yet. I think he's going to end up being possibly an All-American in this offense. He could be a guy like a Kyle Pitts type guy from Florida. I ain't saying he's going to be as good as Kyle Pitts, but he's one of those guys that could be a first-round pick. He's that talented at tight end, y'all. We went over Boo Carter. Up next says, from all accounts, the defense won the scrimmage and had their way with the offense. That's normal. if you tuned in yesterday, you know I said that exact thing, that usually the first scrimmage, the defense wins, the offense struggles, and as they scrimmage a couple more times, the offense starts catching up. It's just a lot harder for the offense to get clicking than it is the defense because there's so much more variance on offense than they are on defense. The quarterbacks didn't have their best day. Multiple people said the one who threw it best and most accurately was George McIntyre. But most of his work come against twos and threes. He hit Travis Smith to Darius Jackson to Sam Brame multiple times with Brame finding the end zone. That's what I've read a lot of too from all the notes, is that George McIntyre had a hell of a scrimmage. I don't read into much of that as far as him factoring into the quarterback battle, just because he is a true freshman. He's still got a lot to learn. He done it against twos and threes. Maybe now next scrimmage he gets some work against the ones. That'll be something to watch. He might be able to get himself in the race, but as of right now, I do think it's a two-man race for the quarterback. Colin Brownsville picked off Joey Aguilar for a pick six. At one point, he was described as the second best, most accurate passer of the day. So Aguilar threw a pick six. That's not what you want from your quarterback in a scrimmage, but that's why you scrimmage, to get those things out of the way. Be a teaching point going forward. Merklinger found Brame on a bootleg score, but had a rough day with accuracy. Multiple people told Ballquest, so Merklinger had a rough day. It's a lot harder throwing the ball against the defense. Like I said, all these reports we've been getting from fall camp has been on routes on the air, y'all. When you're throwing against the defense, that's why we have these scrimmages to pick a starting quarterback, because apparently Merklinger really struggled with defense in his face and guys being covered. Aguilar had a pretty good day besides pick six from what we've read. And George McIntyre had the best day at quarterback, but he went up against twos and threes. So I still think he's the odd man out in the battle. Defensively, Bryson Easton was very active, and so was the defensive line in general. I've told y'all this defensive line is deep. It's going to be just as good as last year's, if not better. A lot of people talk about us losing Omar Norman Lott and James Pierce. We did lose them, but this defensive line is deep, y'all. It can be better than last year's. It's going to be just as good at least, if not better. That's why I think our defense is going to be better this year than it was last year, and we had a top 10 defense last year. Because corner and safety is going to be just as good, defensive line is just as good, and I think linebacker will be even better this year. The starting offensive line had a really good day, and Tennessee was able to effectively run the ball really well with some nice runs by the group of running backs. So the offensive line looked pretty good in run blocking. I'm not sure how the defensive line dominated and the offensive line looked good at the same time. But that's what the reports are saying. So, like I've said on this channel before, I think our offensive line will be even better this year than they were last year. Way better at pass blocking and just as good, if not better, at run blocking. They're going to be better at pass blocking for sure because of the portal additions, and they can be just as good, if not better, run blocking. Players who did not participate: Chris Brazel, Braylon Staley, Miles Kitzel, Jack Van Dorselaer, Ricky Gibson, Jamal McCoy, Will Wright, Jeremiah Taylor, Josh Joseph, Todd Redmond, Christian Gass, and Brian Grant. Most of those guys we already knew were either limited or in red non-contact jerseys, so of course they're not going to scrimmage. I think they're all healthy enough they could play if they needed to. That's why they just set out this scrimmage, to stay healthy and not tweak anything that's already tweaked. Typical day for first scrimmage, defense is ahead of the offense, as will always be the case 99% of camps, like I mentioned earlier, across the nation at this point. The defense is going to be just as good as last year's. The defensive front is very deep and physical. I've been saying that all fall camp, y'all. This defense will be just as good as last year's, if not better. A lot of people think our defense is going to take a step back. I do not. And if I think our offense will be a little better this year, so I think we can have just as good of a season as we did last year, if not better. George McIntyre was, again, the most accurate quarterback. Had a really solid day while working against 2s and 3s. On defense, he's going to be a really good player when this time comes. I think McIntyre's a little ahead of schedule, y'all. I think he's further along than we thought he'd be, which is great. I mean, he was a 5-star, and then he didn't camp all summer, and then they dropped him, and he never rose back up, but he's a 5-star talent for sure. Joey had not a great but decent day other than throwing a pick 6 to Colin Brazel. It would be really nice if the quarterbacks could actually have their best wide receivers on the field to continue building timing and chemistry. I think that's going to come this week. Chris Brazel's supposed to come back. I think Braylon Staley will be back as well. Speaking of pass catchers, a trio of freshmen and Travis Smith, stud, Ray Darius Jackson, and Hassan Brahim all had a really good day. These freshman receivers are definitely going to have to contribute, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Hassan Brahim get some work at receiver in certain formations because he's very athletic, big body. I could see him getting some work out wide. He'd still be technically a tight end, but I could see him being out wide in some of our formations this year just because of the depth at receiver if we end up having some problems with injuries. So that's all the notes that we had from scrimmage. So we're going to get to what Josh Heupel said. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button after the video or during the video. Comment on anything I've said that you disagree with or agree with. Make sure you're subscribed. They asked where this team is at in camp and where he wants to see progress. There's been a lot of good growth. Practices have been competitive. There have been physical, good fundamental, and technique growth, which ultimately leads you to be in position to go and make plays. In all phases of the game, we still have a lot left individually and collectively by unit to continue to be our best. So a growth mindset, and let's continue to push. One thing I'm going to tell you as we go through this is when you're dealing with Josh Heupel, you're going to get a lot of coach speak. Heupel's not going to be the coach that gives you something to talk about at the water cooler, nothing as far as saying something that's going to cause a ruckus or anything like some teams' coaches and like Diego Pavia. That's just not the type of team or coach we have. If receivers, Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews were involved in the scrimmage, Braylon was not. Mike was. Mike did a good job today. He's been with us the last couple of days. If Boo Carter was involved in Tennessee scrimmage on Saturday morning. When we started training camp and I talked to you guys, there were steps that he had to take to continue to earn his place in the scope of what we're doing as a football team. He has taken those steps. He has continued to grow. I like what he's been able to do here. In particular, the last 4 days, what's going to transpire. It's a day-to-day. We're taking it day-to-day at this point, I guess is the best way to say. Boo was involved in what we were doing in the scrimmage. They said Boo only fielded punts today. He watched the defense. And Boo's supposed to play offense and defense this year, y'all. So sounds like Heupel ain't playing around, ain't letting him off the hook easy, which is good. Like I said before, I think he should have to earn this spot, have to earn his teammates' respect back for the way he did right before fall camp started and during the summer, missing workouts, just showing his ass a little bit. So I'm glad Heupel's sticking to his guns and making him earn his way back on the team instead of making it easy on him. Tennessee Jermod McCoy returning to practice from the HCL. Yeah, cool moment for Jermod. Big moment getting back on the field, doing some individual work. It was cool to see the way his brothers were excited for him to be in that moment and how big that was, too. He broke us down before practice. He's done an elite job throughout his rehab. There's still more he has to continue to do, but excited to get him back out there with us. So He's back working. He's on the practice field, which is huge. Is he going to be ready for game one? That's still to be determined. Hopefully he will be, but we shall see as the time goes on. What makes him believe George McIntyre can win this job is development. But I think George, we challenged him post-spring in some of the areas that he had to grow, some of that physical, some of that fundamental and technique. You've seen a lot of that growth from him. You've seen his level of play be dramatically different than it was when we finished spring ball. And that's from day one of training camp. He has had a good presence, good control of what we're doing. There's some areas that he's going to have to continue growing, as all of our players have to do at this point, but I really like what George has done so far. The main thing George has to do is just get some experience. And on top of the experience, I think he needs to put on a little more weight. He's skinny as a rail, kind of like Nico was when he first got here. Not to bring up bad memories for anybody. Week one, Nico plays at 10 o'clock against UCLA, by the way, and I will be staying up and watching that, and I hope UCLA sacks him 30 times. If he liked what they asked Heupel if he liked what he saw from Tennessee's banged-up receiver group. Yeah, overall, I thought they made a few plays. There were some plays that are there to make, but they operated relatively efficiently in the confines of what we're doing offensively, and for them, there's some subtle details in how they operate that this is as close as they get to the game day too, which is going to be a great learning experience from them. But overall, I really like what they've done. That's what you scrimmage for, y'all. They record these scrimmages. They treat it like a little mini game. They'll go watch film, learn from it, see where we need to continue to grow at, all that. And also, I'm hoping by scrimmage 2, which will probably be in the next few days, that we have all of our guys back and healthy so we continue to work on timing and just get more comfortable with each other, because we got to pick a quarterback soon, and we got to get chemistry down with our receivers before Syracuse comes to town, and it's an orange-on-orange crime, and I hope we're the orange that wins in that crime. Up next, how David Sanders handled the weight he's added. I thought David has done a really good job. 8 practices in throughout training camp. I thought today he handled himself extremely well. Really good player in spring ball. Continued to grow mentally and physically. And then the fundamentals and techniques too. So here through the early part of training camp, he's done a really good job for a young football player, expecting him to play at a really high level. So Heupel praising Sanders there. He's added almost 40 pounds. He's going to be starting. So best way to get him ready is to go up against our defensive line, because honestly, it don't get much better than our defensive line. I mean, we got one of the best in the country. Up next is takeaway from the defense. I like how hard they're playing. We use the word attack playing. Through the echo of the whistle, how they're running the football, the ability running to the football. Somebody forgot to add a word there. Like how they're running to the football, the ability to not go 1-for-1 out in space and in the core, block destruction for us, and the details of what we're doing from a shift, trade, motion, whatever it may be. All 3 levels, communicating, being on the same page, would be solid. But there's more growth for us on a play-in, play-out basis right now with 1s, 2s, and 3s. But they've had a great mindset, and they continue to grow. If you notice the theme here, Heupel talks you up a little bit and then brings you down and talks about how you need to continue to grow. He's never going to just completely praise you, because he don't want you to get comfortable. He don't want you to think you're hot shit. He's going to build you up, tear you down, tell you need to continue to grow, which is true. But some coaches come out there and they tell their players, oh, how great they done, all that, and then your team starts to get complacent. And the last thing you want is your team to get complacent. You want them to stay hungry. Even if they had a perfect day out there, you want to tell them, oh, well, you didn't do this right, so we can keep them hungry, ready to go. Where Tennessee is with center competition, still competition. Ultimately, you know who to start with. 5 are moving pieces. Find 5 are moving pieces. Find our moving pieces, maybe. Find the best 5 that fit cohesively together at that position. Multiple guys got to be ready to go play and potentially have some moving parts as far as guys sliding from center to guard, guard to tackle, whatever it might be. Those guys have repped extremely hard. They're playing hard. They're playing well as a group with the moving pieces too. The communication, I think, has been really solid, but we're 8 practices in. There's a lot more to continue to grow to. Like I said, he's talking them up, and he says there's still a lot to work on, which there is a lot to work on. We still don't know exactly who our starting 5 is going to be. I'll tell you who I think they'll be. At first, I thought it'd be Satterwhite at center and Pendleton at guard, but now I'm starting to think it'll be Lance Hurd, Wendell Moy, Lance Hurd left tackle, Wendell Moy left guard, Sam Pendleton center, right guard Jesse Perry or Sam Umarov, and right tackle David Sanders. The more we get to fall camp, it seems like Pendleton might take the center job, which would mean Umarov and Jesse Perry are battling it out for right guard. Like I've said a couple times on this channel, but if you're new, our offensive line is going to be better than it was last year. Last year, we could run block, but Lord, we could not pass block very good. And Nico made the offensive line look a little worse too because he didn't have that clock in his head when to escape the pocket, when not to. Up next, if you've seen steps forward from Tennessee running back Star Thomas this spring to now, a dramatically different player, just his body, his movement, explosiveness, physicality with the ball, without the ball, some of the details and fundamentals that it takes, pass protection, special teams as well. He's doing an elite job from the end of spring ball to where we are at practice 8. Like I've said, Star Thomas, he's going to play. Tennessee does running back by committee. Besides last year, it was mostly Sampson. But I think he's going to be your third down back for sure because he's a better pass catcher, probably better pass blocker than our other 2 running backs at this point in their career. So I think Star Thomas will be on the field a lot on third down. He'll get some first and second down action too, but I think most of his reps during games will come from third down. Edwin Spillman scrimmage. Edwin made a couple of plays behind the line of scrimmage. He's taken a step as a leader. He's taken a step in his understanding and ownership of what we're doing defensively. His ability to communicate at all 3 levels on the same page. Young player that's only going to continue to get better. He pushes extremely hard every day to chase his best. If you've tuned in, I've talked about Edwin Spillman. I think by the end of this season, he could be the best linebacker on the team. And that's saying something because Arion Carter is a dog. But Edwin Spillman has that it factor, y'all. He puts the work in. He's a high motor guy that's got the talent as well. So I'm glad to hear Heupel talking about him. Like linebackers coach said, he is the Incredible Hulk, William Inge. He's just a big, hard-working dude that's got the talent. A lot of times, the guy that's got the talent ain't the hardest worker. He's one of them. He's smart. We was in a battle with Ohio State for him. I'm glad we got him. I think him and Jeremiah Telander will split a lot of reps early in the season, but I do think by the end of the season, I think Edwin Spillman could take Telander's job, and Telander's a hell of a player too. But that's just how high I am on Edwin Spillman. So that's our notes for today, y'all. We're 3 Saturdays away from kickoff. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Share this with your buddies. Get them to subscribe. When they hit that bell, hit all. That way you get the notifications of the videos. That'll wrap it up for today. Appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, go Vols, baby.